Alright, guys, I just got back from watching Looper with Joseph Gordon Levitt and Bruce Willis. This movie was really good, I thought. I was watching the episode of King of the Hill where Hank gets raped by the dolphin. But yeah, anyways, I went to go watch this movie, and one thing that did piss me off about the theater was when I got there, it was like $17 and something for us to watch the movie, which I didn't. I had no problem with that. I expected that. So we did get popcorn and some drinks this time, which was like $14.50. Again, I expected that. One of the drinks was water, though, by the way. And then they tried to charge me for popcorn salt. It was $1.50. This is something they always left out before. This was, something you could always use. It was just there for everybody. And now they're trying to charge us for it. And I told the guy, this is ridiculous, that now they're trying to charge us for popcorn salt. And I don't know. It put me in a bad mood. But anyways, on to the movie. This movie was really good, I thought. I thought it had a great story. I have avoided a lot of the trailers, but it's not exactly about what you would think it's going to be about. I thought it was going to be about him chasing Bruce Willis the whole time, and it's kind of back and forth. There's just a whole lot more going on in this movie. But the way they explained it, the way they used the time traveling and the futuristic stuff, I thought was all well done. It looked believable. And they tried to make Joseph Gordon-Levitt, they tried to make him look like a young Bruce Willis, and I thought they did a good job with that, with the effects and everything, and the makeup. So yeah, this was just a good movie. Everybody did a great job in this one. And I really had a good time watching this. It was about 2 hours long, and I didn't get bored or anything. Just very entertaining, good story. So on to the spoilers. This is going to be kind of complicated with all the futuristic time travel stuff here. But where should I start with this one? Okay, so the Loopers they're like hitmen for the mob. If someone messes up something in the future, they will send them back, and one of the Loopers will shoot them instantly. As soon as they appear, they have a time, they go, they show up there, and then as soon as the person appears, they kill him. So that's their job, and then on the back of the body is their money, which are these like gold bars. And then they'll take the body and they'll dump it into like a furnace and they'll burn away all the evidence. And this way they're killing people who technically don't exist anymore, so they're safe from like punishment. So I thought that was a pretty interesting premise. So what happens is, if you're a looper and they want to erase all ties to a victim, they also need to kill the looper. So what they do is they call that ending a looper contract. And that's when they send you back and have you kill yourself. And what happens then is if you kill yourself, which you have to do, if you refuse to do a job, you're dead. They'll come after you. So if you do kill yourself, you'll get like a lot of money, and you'll get 30 years, and you'll get like a big payday, and then for the next 30 years you can live your life, do whatever you want, but in 30 years you're going to get killed. You're going to get sent back to die. So it's kind of like a gamble with this job. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays this guy Joe, and he's crazy. He's doing these futuristic drugs. He's addicted to drugs, and he's just living the looper lifestyle. And one of his friends comes over, and he says, I messed up. I messed up big time. And he refused to kill himself. As soon as he saw that it was himself and his contract was up, he got freaked out. He couldn't do the job. He couldn't kill himself. But he tells Joe, he says, I talked to the guy. I talked to myself from the future, and there's this guy, there's this crime boss in the future called the Rainmaker. And he's ending all the looper contracts. He's having us all kill each other. And it's just this huge, big thing going on, and Joe doesn't really want to believe it. He thinks he's, just paranoid because he's got to kill himself, and now he's on the run from the hit squad. But I thought it was really cool because he hides his friend But eventually he has to give him up to the leader of the boss in the present time, which is Abe, played by Jeff Daniels, who did a great job too. So he's got to give him up. And what happens here, it's really pretty disturbing. They're trying to get the Looper, or the guy from the future. I told you this was going to be really confusing to try and explain. But, okay, so you have Joe, and you have his friend, who they've captured. And now they need that guy from the future. He can't be running around the present. It's going to screw things up in the future. So they got to catch him as quickly as possible. That's why it's so important you make the kill. You don't let them run free. Because if they're from the future, it's going to screw up timelines and stuff. So in order to get him to show up, they take the young version of him. And they like carve out a scar on his hand. Which in the future guy we see, it show up here in like 15 minutes or something. And so he's looking down and he's like, shit. And then he looks at his finger and one of them's gone. And then when he looks back at his hand, another finger's gone. And then another and another. So this guy is panicking, trying to get to the place in like the time frame. And as he gets there, we see more and more of him disappearing. His face is getting burned up. His nose is gone. He's got like no hands, missing a foot, all of this. He finally makes it to the place, and they open the door and just shoot him. And we see this like a medical table where they kept the young version of him alive and just did surgery on him to remove body parts. Really, really sick stuff. But I thought it was clever. So, of course, Bruce Willis comes back, and as soon as he goes to kill himself, Joe sees that it's himself, but he doesn't care. He's like, I'll get 30 years. I'll do it. I'll get the payday. I'll live my life for the next 30 years. He's fine with killing himself. So he goes to shoot him. Bruce Willis turns around. The gold bars block the bullet. And then he fights back. He throws one of the bars and knocks Joe in the head. And he escapes. But then we see like an alternate time where Joe kills himself. And then we see him in the next 30 years. Year 1, he's spending his money. Year 2. And then it goes on and on. He's getting older. He's running out of money. He starts to turn into Bruce Willis. He meets a woman. He lives in China. And he falls in love with this woman. And then in 30 years, they come to get him. And Bruce Willis fights back, escapes this hit squad, which I think they call the GAT squad. Loopers use this big shotgun type weapon, blunderbuss. And the hit squad uses these GATs, or what they call them, these like long revolver type shotguns, or pistols. And Bruce Willis fights these guys off, jumps in the time machine, and goes back to his own time because he wants to stop the Rainmaker as when he's a child, so that in the future he can live with his wife. And what the movie did was it showed us 2 alternate timelines. It shows us what happens if Joe kills himself, and now we see what happens if he doesn't. So it's all these like different outcomes. So in this one, Bruce Willis escapes, and he's trying to reason with Joe, and Joe just wants to kill him. He wants to get his life back. And as they're fighting, he ends up on this farm, and he meets this woman whose son happens to be one of the people that Bruce Willis is after, which I also thought was kind of weird how there's this other girl he was attracted to who was like a prostitute and had a son, and that's another one. So Bruce Willis has these 3 options that he thinks are the Rainmaker. And he's going to go around and kill these kids until he gets the right one. Well, Joe is at the house with the Rainmaker. So Bruce Willis is trying to get there, and he gets to the house. Meanwhile, the hit squad sent by Jeff Daniels is after them both. It gets crazy. And they're constantly trying to escape. Bruce Willis actually goes and kills all of the bad guys. He shows up and he kills all of the hit squad. And he goes to see Joe, who's been living with this kid and his mom. And he says, we have to kill this kid. Let me kill the kid. We'll get our life back. I killed the hit squad. Take your money. Go to France. Go to China. Wherever you want to go. And escape. And Joe says he can't do it. He's actually starting to like this kid. Now, in the Looper universe, there are these people, 10% of the population have this thing called TK. and they can, most of them just levitate like coins and stuff above their hands. It just floats around. That's all they can do. It's not like a big power. However, the Rainmaker, who they hype up as this huge supervillain in the future, he took down like 5 crime bosses by himself. No one knows how, no one knows what he looks like, but he's super powerful. Well, when we see him as a kid, we find out why he's so powerful. He's this like super TK child. The kid who played this guy, or the kid in the movie who was the Rainmaker, did a great job. And he like lifts up one of the Hit Squad members, and just we see he starts screaming or something when he gets angry. He like loses it, and all the stuff in the house starts to levitate, and then this guy just, we see this blood come out of him, and then I guess it just shoots all over the place, hence the name Rainmaker. It rains blood. So I thought that was really cool, but Joe cannot bring himself to kill this kid even after seeing how powerful he is, and he thinks that if he lets the kid stay with his mom and he doesn't go through these traumatic experiences, then he could grow up and do good with this power rather than become this evil crime boss. But of course Bruce Willis doesn't want this. He wants his life. He wants to be back with his wife, and he still wants to kill this kid. So Joe's trying to stop Bruce Willis, and you kind of don't really know who to root for here, because they both have, great arguments. However, Bruce Willis decides he is going to kill the Rainmaker, and Joe knows what's going to happen, that he's going to kill his mother, and then the Rainmaker is going to escape, and then that's going to cause everything. It's just going to repeat the cycle. So in order to stop Bruce Willis, Joe takes his big shotgun and he kills himself, causing Bruce Willis to disappear, and that's it. The Rainmaker is with his mother, and everything is fine. Now, this makes a lot of sense if you've seen the movie. If you haven't, I hope I've explained it, because it's kind of a tough movie to go into detail with when there's you just have to watch it. I mean, it's one of those movies where there's so much going on that's got to be explained, because when I first heard the premise, I was like, okay, he's killing himself from the future, but wouldn't that make him disappear in the past? Like, it's kind of a confusing thing, but they did explain it very well in this movie. Much better than I could. And I thought it was a great concept. And when I said it wasn't exactly about him and Bruce Willis fighting each other, it's more about this Rainmaker kid and him having telekinesis. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. And I really liked this movie. I thought it was great with the whole futuristic stuff, and they just did a really good job with this one. I guess next, I'm not sure what's coming out next week, but I have seen the previews for that movie Sinister, and I think that looks awesome too. I can't wait to watch that one. So anyways, Looper is a great movie. If you're looking for something to go see, you can't go wrong with this one. It's very good. So I hope you guys liked this video. Leave your thoughts on this movie in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Bye.